Otalku, episode 10, if you can believe it, where today we are talking about the question of the Japanese companies putting English subtitles on their anime releases, and this has been happening for a while, and we're wondering, what if this is a trend? What if this continues, and just every Japanese anime release has English subs on it? What would happen? And I have with me this week Matt Dixon from Life and Tims of Anime. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, thank you. How are you, Brent, today?
I'm doing just great. How are you doing?
I think that sentence was backwards. Well, at least I mixed the words up. But that's what I do. And I'm fine, thank you. Actually, I've had a very good day of just playing Fable 3 all day.
I see. Fair enough. So, yeah, so the question is that of just the general problem is, let's be honest, the anime industry is not doing so hot, at least over here. So the question is, would that, well, what would happen? I mean, I don't want to get into the whole, would this fix things, because what the heck does that mean? But, what would happen if suddenly everything that comes out in Japan, you just, and they release stuff on DVD and Blu-ray real quick. It'll come out, in fact, I think they start releasing on DVD before the show ends. So, it's like 2 months after the airing of the first episode, you can start getting the DVDs. So we get this stuff pretty darn quick. Would people do that? Would people actually bother to go and import it?
I think hopefully, it's another one of the things we talk about a lot is hope.
Yeah.
And it has a good chance. I think it will definitely have an increase.
Mm-hmm.
There is no doubt that there will be an increase for a while. There will be this kind of thing where people are like, oh, we don't have to steal it anymore. We don't have to run the risk of getting arrested anymore. Let's start buying it legally.
Yeah.
And then people start going, wait a minute, there's the word there, buying, which costs me money. And then they will go back to it. I think, it's kind of like we'll get this big increase, and then it will go down, and it will still be an increase from what it used to be. We'll still have those loyal people that think, yeah, we can't steal it anymore. We've got to, now that we can, we will buy it.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that the existing folks who buy will just transition to buying over there from Japan? Possibly. Yeah. Again, it's a big if, maybe, and when kind of thing. And of course... No, go ahead.
I can't remember. Go ahead.
No, of course, one of the big assumptions is that we're moving to Blu-ray. And, the region locking problem, which is certainly a big problem, will eventually go away, and probably in a few years. And judging by sales figures over in Japan, Otaku are just totally going after the Blu-ray market. So it looks like that is going to take over in the next few years anyway, at least for anime.
Especially with anime as well, because Blu-ray always offers more special features, and Otaku are a culture that loves directors' commentaries, special stills from anime. It's obvious that the Blu-ray will take over anime. Not all films, but anime. Yeah,
definitely. So that'll certainly help. Of course, the big elephant in the room here is price. One thing that we've been talking about on the chat room earlier is this idea that yes, you can buy all this stuff directly from Japan, but a disc containing the first 2 episodes of the series will cost $90 US. It's literally about 4 times as much in Japan as it is here because of differences in monetary rates and fiscal all sorts of stuff. So that would be one of the. I think that would be a problem for people, is suddenly saying, okay, you won't spend $30 on a series now, and I have to spend $200 on a series, just because.
Yeah.
Not seeing it.
Yeah, it's price is always, especially in current economic climate. Yeah. Price is a huge factor, but it's like the entertainment industry is very, very different from other industries in the fact that people want films, games, consoles, regardless of price. Yeah. It's like the video game industry has not been affected by the recession. Yeah. Maybe a little by the fact that parents aren't willing to buy their children all the video games they ask for. Yeah. But adult gamers, which is the majority, they keep buying.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm not 100% because I don't buy anime because you know I don't need to. Although the anime I watch, I can't buy basically. You know, I'm pretty sure the anime industry is the same because otaku and gamers, in a way, are quite similar in that vein. So price sort of has a factor, but at the same time, it can go either way.
And the other thing too is I think a lot of the folks who buy anime already are folks, honestly, like me, folks who are, you know, a little older, who have disposable income, who are, you know, it's not hard for me to spend $30 on an anime series or whatever, or 40 or 50. So I think we are kind of that core group that's buying, and so for us, the idea of getting that one Mamoru Oshii film that's never been released, you know, over here and probably never will be. But hey, it came out in Japan. And I can spend, you know, I'll spend the $90 to import it. We'll do that. We'll absolutely do that. Now, of course, the other, you know, if this does, well, Gundam Unicorn is kind of the obvious topic here because that's the one that's being released worldwide, globally, to everyone for a price that's kind of in the middle, where you get an hour. You know, each episode is an hour. It's released on disc for about $40, $50 US, and you know it's done very well. And so you know the idea is that hopefully now Gundam's different. It's in its own little world, but you know if we can kind of hit that sort of sweet spot in the middle where you know we're spending more, Japanese are spending less, and we even it out and can still send the money back. You know that could certainly have a future, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. It can work, you know. Again, with Gundam, Gundam's kind of that thing where you're trying to talk about anime, and then you say it like Gundam. Oh, you like Gundam? Because people don't realise it's anime.
Yeah.
It can work out, you know. It's good to be middleman with prices, especially with the Gundam thing. You know, having this sort of worldwide almost price kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, almost worldwide, almost universal kind of same price thing. And I think that could work out. And if they did it with the subbed anime releases, you know, that's the thing. If Japan not only started giving English subs, you know, it's kind of like the thing that if they're going to spend the money to give the English subs, they might as well spend a bit more money to give American releases, you know, at the very least, to start releasing them in the States.
Yeah.
The States is probably where they'll get the most money.
Yeah.
You know, for doing it. And I think if they, you know, they advertise it right and then give it a push.
Yeah.
When they're doing it, then it'll make a massive profit.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the big things is that right now, you know, I don't think honestly there's a retail future for anime. You know, the way things are going. You know, the anime shelves are shrinking, and I think we just got to be used to the fact that we're going to get this stuff online from now on. And I think in that case, you know, like what Gundam does, put it on Amazon. Boom. You know, anyone around the world basically can now order it and get it in. And yes, it's going to cost more for European countries and so forth to ship. But, you know, now at least it's there and you can do it. And then you can now make use of Amazon's infrastructure to say, okay, now we ship and we say, okay, now there's a European you know, distribution center that has it and this, and you can kind of work that out. And of course the other issue, as you mentioned, is the whole question of, you know, the actual stuff on the disc. If they really want to release this worldwide, I mean they're going to have English subs not just on the content itself. You got to translate the director's commentary. You got to translate the menus. You got to translate all this various stuff, and that's suddenly, you know, significantly more than your average. Just grab some college student who knows English and Japanese and slap something on there.
Yeah. I think another thing as well to consider is the worldwide nation. That makes no sense, but the world is becoming more of a instant gratification nation.
Yes.
It's to make it rhyme. So to go one step further, why release it on Amazon when you can just release it digital?
Yeah.
And worldwide, everyone downloads it. Bang! You've got it instantly.
Yeah.
You know, one of the big reasons why I don't buy things and why a lot of people don't buy things is because they can't be asked waiting. You know, and if it's a digital download, you just press the button, you've got it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big difference between 10 days and 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I think that would, again, if it's advertised right, they advertise it on the internet especially, say, anime is coming to digital release. And essentially, make it an iTunes store of anime.
Yeah. Well, they already got...
Worldwide, universal.
I mean, they've already got anime on iTunes, at least US iTunes.
Yeah.
So, the question is whether you could do that sort of infrastructure and make it available and post it out there. I mean, I think you've got... certainly, if someone can put together the infrastructure, technically, and then work out agreements with the Japanese, where that's a whole other world, then I absolutely agree. I mean, I think one of the big questions would be, are the Japanese companies willing to release stuff as digital files that can be just as easily uploaded to Mega Upload?
Yeah, that's the thing in it. But there is one thing that there's plenty of ways to stop it. And the thing is, I don't think having it on digital release would really make it any easier.
True.
Yeah. And the thing is, what does iTunes do to prevent you from stealing its music? You can't take it off iTunes. It is stored as like 4 different... One music file is stored as like 4 different music files and a text file. You can't steal it. It just doesn't work. People do it, but it takes a bloody long time. And again, making this sort of iTunes of anime, the only way you can access it is if you can turn on that specific program and say, okay, I want to watch this anime. And it is not hard to say, okay, I want to connect it to my television.
Yeah. Well, I think
to have a special USB.
Yeah.
Like a Blizzard Authenticator with World of Warcraft. It only works with one program. Just make a special USB that you plug into your television, boom, your anime's on there. But you can't steal it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why the company's been working so much with sites like Crunchyroll. You can't steal a stream, again, unless you leap through a lot of hoops and you get a really low quality thing. And it just, I think it makes a whole lot of sense to say, okay, just release it that way. And I'd be very curious to see the numbers on streaming. I'm just not convinced that that's really making a big impact on the whole situation. We're certainly not seeing folks, we're not seeing Production IG coming out and saying, this is it, this is doing so well, everything goes on Crunchyroll from now on. We're very, everyone's saying, okay, we'll use Crunchyroll. So someone must be doing something right though on Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll definitely got a lot more anime this season than it has for the past few seasons. And it's been growing. I mean, as I think we all remember, when it first went legit. I still find that hilarious. Anyway, when Jin started simulcasting, they simulcasted like 1 show, and then it was like 2, and now they're simulcasting like half the season.
Yeah.
So it is definitely working on that level, and I suspect that Crunchyroll is stopping a lot of the piracy, which folks like, but is not increasing sales. I don't think a lot of money is flowing back to the anime companies.
That's the thing. It's Crunchyroll is cool and it's a really good initial idea, but I would be quite happy. Like an idea I sort of had with Crunchyroll is if they could get every anime of the season, and just the first episode or the first 2-3 episodes are completely free. The next episode you pay, I don't know, £2. The next episode after that, £2.
Yeah.
And it just, and that way, if you stop liking a series, you can stop paying. And if you like another series, you can keep paying.
Well, that's one of the things that kind of surprised me about Crunchyroll, and why more folks don't use it. Is everything on there is free. You may have to wait a week if you're not paying for the subscription, but it's all there. And and when you go and you look at how much stuff is on there, it's kind of like, my gosh, you can spend the rest of your life on here and not run out of anime. And good anime. It's not weird crap from the 70s. So it's kind of like, why aren't folks flocking to that? Maybe they are, and it's just, I suspect it's just really hard to really effectively monetize something like Crunchyroll.
Well, the thing is, I think the biggest problem for Crunchyroll is that no one knows about it. On my end, at the very least, I never see an internet advert for it. I've seen one advert for Crunchyroll, and that's the advert that got me on there.
Oh, wow.
One advert got me on there, but I've never seen another Crunchyroll advert ever again. So if it can get me there in one advert, you know, and I barely even look at adverts on the internet. You know, if you get me there in one advert, all they need to do is start advertising again. You know, put a bit more money in it and advertise it, and maybe work out a better way to, you know, have this subscription thing going. Like give you half the series for free, the rest of it you have to pay, kind of thing. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, getting a bit more than anything is really important for Crunchyroll.
It's
I don't know about the States, but you know, over in England, I say, "Oh yeah, I watch this anime," and it's like, "How did you get that for free and legally?" I'm like, "I watch it on Crunchyroll," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, Crunchyroll, the internet's source of anime, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, that is interesting, and even amongst, you know, a lot of anime fans, like over here. I mean, it's one of these. It's kind of like AnimeNewsNetwork.com. I kind of assume everyone knows what that site is, and I'm surprised how many folks just have no idea. And you know, it's not stupidity. It's just apparently this stuff isn't getting communicated to folks.
Yeah.
It's strange. But I mean, one of the interesting things we're seeing is this is really cutting out the American and otherwise international American distribution systems, or anime distribution systems. You know, if companies do this, they release through Crunchyroll, they release discs worldwide, no one needs Funimation anymore.
True.
No one needs any of those companies anymore, which means no one needs dubs.
Also true. That's the thing. Dubs are a really good way to get new people into anime, and I think, you know, of course, sad as it is to say, eventually everyone dies. So if there's no one in the new anime fandom, then it will just, you know, once the old generation has passed on, anime will just go away in the West.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that, though, is that, like, the current generation, from what I can tell, of anime fans, like the Narutards, they all got into Naruto by watching subbed episodes online.
Yeah, sure.
You know, the Bleach fans, you know, they're all watching this on whatever the free streaming site, I don't even know. You know, they're watching it there. So, and it's always shocked me that they have no problem sitting down watching the Japanese terrible little English subs a lot of the times. So if that can work, I mean, I think, you know, that will help a lot. I think the big problem is we're never going to get a Pokemon. You know, we're never going to get something that expands the fandom in a way to the rest of the world. I think it's one of the big issues is that, yes, we can stay alive, yes, we can grow, yes, we can continue, but we're always going to be this, you know, weird to everyone else. No one's going to understand what the heck we're doing. And granted, a lot of people like that in some weird masochistic way, but I think that, you know, that's an issue, is that, you know, in order for this fandom to grow in more than just a numbers sense, and for folks to actually appreciate what the heck we're doing, you know, if you want your mom to watch anime, she's not going to watch Naruto with you. You know, we need dubs of these things.
Well, I think we're thinking about it in a bit too of a oh my god, we're gonna die fashion, because no matter how many anime series stop being dubbed, Ghibli will always be dubbed.
I disagree.
I mean,
I disagree.
I just think people, you know, the way how big a profit, like anime films, or, you know, what you can consider anime, it's more of a CGI thing. Final Fantasy, both the Final Fantasy films, how much profit they made, they're technically anime, and so, you know, and they were made in Japan, so, you know, they're still making a profit for that industry.
But I mean, you know, Ghibli, I think I can very easily see them stop dubbing those movies.
Why?
Because it is a fluke that Disney is dubbing Ghibli. The only reason they're doing it is because the animators insisted on doing so and basically bullied their management into that contract, and that's why Disney, you know, started doing that. But I think, you know, that's something that is there because that happened. It's a historical accident, basically. But I can see Disney saying, this isn't worth, you know, everything we're putting into it. Especially, I mean, Miyazaki was hot 10 years ago. Yeah. How hot is he now? So I can totally see that just, and, you know, Ghibli was not dubbed until Disney came along.
Yeah, true.
So
I think there's a lot of dubs will be a rare occurrence, but they will still happen. I don't think dubs will ever die. You know, it's like we'll still get the odd paprika. Stuff like that. The sort of out there stuff that one entrepreneur thought, "Ooh, this will be awesome in English."
I think it's like, you know, Korean movies or Chinese movies. You know, we'll occasionally get a dub of a Hong Kong movie or whatever, but the vast majority aren't going to be that way, which totally makes sense for the industry. Definitely. But you know, again, you know, that raises that issue that, you know, what will get dubbed other than those occasional odd things. I mean, those occasional dubs of things like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, for example, increased awareness, but all it really did was make new fans. It didn't open people up to understand what a wuxia film was. So, and again, I'm not saying we're all doomed. It's just that seems to me to be the most clear, you know, result, is that we'll stay sort of in this box.
Well, that's the thing as well. I think you're putting a little too much faith in the current way people are seeing things, because I don't think Pokemon educates people on what anime is. You know, I think it just kind of gives you this sort of first off base, and then you sort of, you know, you have everyone that watched Pokemon always has that one friend that will, you know, like when they're in teenagers years, when they've completely forgotten about Pokemon, then people will say, "Did you like Pokemon?" It's like, "Yeah, it was okay when I was a kid." Well, do you want a Pokemon that you will like now? Okay, well, here's some anime. You know, I don't, you know, it's all from first initiative. It's from people's initiative. I don't think there's anything that's directly bringing people into anime other than other otakus.
Well, no, what I'm talking about though is that Pokemon made anime a household name. You know, yes,
maybe.
Absolutely. I can say that from direct experience. You know, before Pokemon came out, you know, I would say anime, and people would say, "What's that?" You know, Japanese animation. They make cartoons. Yeah. You know, after Pokemon, anime and the style, you know, people at least knew that anime existed. They knew that it was out there, and they knew that it wasn't. They had a baseline. I'll put it that way. And I think that, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. And not so much, and you know, it certainly does bring in a lot of those fans. But I mean, I'm talking about those shows that tells the broader culture something about anime, and that's something that I think would be lost. And you know, again, granted, every other film style, you know, I talk about Korean films, Hong Kong films. They all live in those silos. You know, they've never had the advantage of a Pokemon or an Akira or a Ghost in the Shell, whatever. So, you know, I'm not saying it is unfair. I'm saying it's just, I think it would, you know, it would be you know, this change. Now, granted, that's assuming that this is where it's going to go, which I don't think is all that likely.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Pokemon, you know, if we're talking the specifics of Pokemon, just for a little bit here, Pokemon is still making a huge profit. So, you know, regardless of, you know, other companies stopping dubbing, most people are still going to be saying, Pokemon's still making a profit, why stop?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, you know, they'll keep dubbing it. They'll keep just saying, okay, let's keep making Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I think that will be the one thing that, you know, makes some people aware of anime, but not everyone, because, you know, I still meet people and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a big anime fan." What's that? What? You know, my head explodes when I hear it, but it still happens.
And that's what I'm saying, is that, you know, before then, nobody's head exploded when people hadn't heard about anime. It just, you didn't expect folks to.
Yeah, he's kind of like, you haven't heard of anime? I didn't think so.
Yeah, exactly. But
you'd have your moral superiority. A man of your stature would not have indulged in such luxuries.
Yeah.
And they'd stroke their imaginary goatees like I do.
Yes, exactly.
Which I do all the time. I just stroke it and it's not even there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's absolutely true. Where, you know, you're going to get a certain amount of things. Although, how long is Pokemon going to last? I'm curious about that. It's lasted a very long time, and I don't think it's dead. You know, I don't think it's going to go away, you know, next season or anything. But I wonder, you know, how long it's going to be around.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Pokemon now is more the games, which is where it started in the first place. So you know, it's good for it to go back to it.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a chance that Pokemon will stop saying, okay, let's stop doing the anime and just focus on vomiting out more of the same video game, because people will still buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, people will still buy Pokemon freaking Aubergine Grey. That's the anime, you know, does have that chance of, because each generation of children is different in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never seen Pokemon, you know, the sort of theme of it, or the overall Pokemon-ness of the anime change from what I've watched. You know, so it's not adapting to the current generation of the West.
Yeah.
Maybe the generations of Japanese kids stay exactly the same, but in the West, they're different every year. You know, for one, they're more and more entitled. But we'll get onto that later. So you know, the anime does have a chance of most saying, "What's this? This is stupid," kind of thing.
Yeah.
The games will never die. But then again, we're not talking about the gaming industry, we're talking about the anime industry. So the anime does have a chance of dying, and then, we would lose that sort of, what's anime? Oh yeah, that anime thing? Yeah, go away, you scary little weird boy.
I think
with
Yu-Gi-Oh!
your
is
sweat
speaking...
and comic books.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually is speaking more to the current generation. That certainly seems to have grabbed attention. I don't know why.
Yes, I do know a lot of people that know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoons and manga. Then I do, obviously. Honestly, no, I think everyone I know about, or that I speak to, knows what Pokemon is.
Yeah, Pokemon is kind of the...
For now, though, isn't it? That's the thing, it's... Yu-Gi-Oh! Is sort of climbing the ropes, kind of thing. Because they are definitely making the main protagonists of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now sort of Western, in a way, from what I've seen. You know, it's like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Totally not Western at all. But these new guys, it's sort of like, it really is something a Western kid would look up to.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
Interesting
you mentioned that there's a... I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, it's on that sort of circle thing that Pokemon isn't adapting to the Western nation. Yu-Gi-Oh! Might not be doing it intentionally, but it sort of is going with the Western new generation flow.
Yeah. I remember there's an interview with the chief Gundam officer at Bandai. I love that that's an official business card title. Anyway, where he was saying one of the problems they have selling Gundam, to the West is that their heroes are not traditional Western heroes. They are traditional Japanese heroes in a lot of ways. They are underdogs with no powers other than sort of
a giant metal robot.
A giant metal robot. And, like Amuro is a great example where, like, his only real skill is engineering. He understands the way this giant robot works at this sort of fundamental level, but just because he's a good engineer, and of course he develops new tech powers or whatever, but it's this idea that, that's not the way, that's not G.I. Joe, that's not, so many other different, it's not Ben 10. And so it's just really hard to break into the American market with these heroes who are complaining a lot of the time, and who are just the much more cerebral characters. So I think it's one of those things. Like I said, I don't think it's intentional. I think it's one of those things of adapting to the the realities and saying, well, this is what kind of works. And it's becoming more broadly familiar with what different cultures like, and that just generally changes how you do things. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like Japan does know that anime sells in the West, so they do sometimes make an anime that is Western geared. Never totally Western geared, because they know that wouldn't make a profit. But they do add the odd character that's, hi, I'm Barry Manuel from the US. I'm a man. Let's go shoot some aliens.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I wouldn't make it in the acting business.
Well, I mean, you see that with a lot of the titles that are being adapted. Gothic, for example. Very Western in concept. Allison and Lilia, I just got that on DVD recently. You're seeing a lot more of these things where, like, way back in the day, anime would be kind of Japanese by default, because it'd be about, like, Japanese soccer teams. or it would be space. No
the final frontier.
Exactly. And you know, there would be no specific culture, you know, Japanese or otherwise. And these days we're seeing, you know, not just the Haruhis, which are obviously more Japanese. We're also seeing a lot more titles that have that kind of Western feel. And I think you can thank Miyazaki for that a lot of times, because that's just his sort of thing. But yeah, and I think that's just, you know, recognizing that, hey, there are other people out there and there are other ways of telling stories. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, it's an odd thing that, you know, otakus are sort of very obsessed with Japanese culture.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is that Japanese kind of want to be Western, in a way. You know, it's like a lot of, at least Japanese teenagers, dress like a Westerner, talk like a Westerner. They do, you know, it's weird that, you know, while one culture is obsessed with the other's obsessed with them, but neither of them seems to realize it.
Well, they have this very long tradition of worried adoption of Western, you know, cultural aspects, where, I mean, for the past 150 years, really, it's been this idea that, okay, we now recognize the value of the way of certain Western things, but is this really a good thing for us to do? And, you know, you go back, and I mean, Japan is one of the few countries left in the world where folks will, you know, can still get up on television and say the Japanese are the superior race, and everything else will be subservient to them. And I've seen these things where respected politicians will go and say this, and folks will say, oh, okay, fair enough. You know, they won't agree, but that is an opinion that people will have, and you don't get booed for it. It's a very different culture and way of seeing things. So, and again, I'm going to get hate mail for that one. No, I'm not saying that all Japanese are like that or anything like that, but it's just, you know, there is that idea that traditional Japanese culture is a very important thing that needs to be preserved. And legitimately, that, you know, you don't just throw away your history or your way of doing things just because somebody else who's successful has their way of doing things.
And other countries do that as well. I'm not sure about the American country, because obviously America doesn't really have that kind of traditional American culture. But, you know, Britain, we've got to keep our cobbled streets. We've got to keep York. We've got to keep York exactly the way it is, you know, with the houses that nearly touch. And it's like in our country, county of York, the city of York, you have houses where you can lean out your window and shake your next door neighbour's hand. You know, that's how, and no one wants that changed, you know. It's like, I can totally understand the way the Japanese feel, because obviously that's what Britain wants to do. Britain wants to stay British.
Absolutely. And
so, you know, it's like there's nothing wrong with Japan doing it.
No, absolutely, and totally understandable. I mean, some folks take it a little bit too far, where, you know, this should all be our slaves. Excuse me. Yeah, and actually, I mean, in America, it's more cultural values.
Yeah.
You know, we don't care too much about changing in physical locations and such, but darn it, it was best in the 50s, you know, and there's just this whole, anyway. But,
well, I think, you know, with the States, just to go on a slightly bit of a tangent, it's more of a, let's build our traditions so we can keep them kind of thing. You know, it's like, every other country has their traditions, okay, let's make some of ours.
And you know, now that we finally have some, it's kind of hard to
defend them to the death.
Exactly, you know, it's kind of like, you know, okay, picnics! Gotta do picnics! You know, it's like, okay, fine.
Everyone must have picnics.
And, you know, and again, I mean, you know, just to beat this horse a little bit further, I mean, this is how culture stays. You know, you don't want to just go willy-nilly, because then there's nothing to hold people together. You know, there's a lot important in just general social functioning of having those traditions to keep people coming together. Otherwise, everyone kind of becomes these lonely people who sit in their basements watching cartoons. Wait a minute.
Isn't that kind of what I do, except I do it in my own room?
Pretty much. Kind of scary.
And that's one thing we've got to consider as well. Anime, you know, we wouldn't be having this conversation if Japan was more open to the culture, because anime just wouldn't be the same. Anime wouldn't be anime in a way. You know, it's so, you know, thank God for, you know, it's like the phrase "only in Japan." Damn right, only.
Absolutely. You know, thank the good Lord. So yeah, I mean, this is a big thing, is to see how this is going to, how this could affect it. Now, you know, the other thing I think we haven't really addressed, because it's kind of obvious, how likely is this? No.
I
don't see
it's
it.
Again a big, massive maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, if there is the right, you know, basically that one person with that one company, and that one person is very charismatic, and they can convince Japan to, you know, it's like the only way I see this working is essentially my iTunes theory, kind of thing of doing it. You know, that is the only way I think Japan would want to, and would maybe even consider doing. You know, this sort of, you can't steal it. You can only access it on this one program. You buy it online. It's digital download. You know, I think. Well, you know, of course, in my eyes, you know, I like my nice stack of Ghibli. You know, with the numbers and the DVDs. It's all nice. But honestly, I prefer to just have it all on my iTunes. Just bam, and just be able to access it. You know, DVDs, or at least anime DVDs, in my eyes are pointless if you can get them digitally. You know, if you can get everything a DVD can give you, you know, it's like all you have to do is turn it into a program. So you turn it on and it gives you a DVD menu. You know, it's like it's not just a file you just click at. Poof, anime movie. It's an actual program that, you know, a piece of software that's, you know, starts up, there's a DVD menu, you choose what you want to do. You want to watch some special features? Go right ahead. You don't have to access a separate file, it's all on one program. And I think that's the only way it would work, you know, long term.
And, you know, credit's due, you know, not that long ago, there was no legal way of getting music online. And, you know, Apple succeeded, and you know, people think I'm an Apple fanboy, but you know, the fact remains, you know, they worked out the deals. They had this program which you can only play the music in. Of course, that's changed a little bit, but you know, there's this application. You download it, you do it, and everyone went along with it eventually. It can happen, definitely.
There are very few people that don't have iTunes these days. You know, it's like, and if you want to buy one of the currently best MP3 players out there, an iPod. I'm not talking about iPhones, I'm just talking about iPods. You know, then you've got to have iTunes. You have to have iTunes, or it won't work. You cannot add stuff onto your iPod without iTunes. You know? It's like, because most people I know have an iPod of some sort. Some people have an iTouch. Some, even few people, have an iPhone. But that's changing now. Most adults have an iPhone because, well, frankly, people don't realize how much better most Android phones are. But, you know, they also realize how convenient an iPhone is. But, you know, anyway, back to the point, you know, it's like, Apple can do it. Some company will do it with anime. Eventually, if anime can survive the current rough spot we're in. You know?
Exactly. You know, and of course then it gets back to the whole question of, you know, okay, so the Japanese companies are translating it. How good are those translations going to be? I mean, one of the things we've had is, you know, one of the reasons we have an American industry is because it's very helpful to have folks within this culture to, you know, figure out and adapt to this culture. Same thing anywhere else. And, you know, putting it all in the hands of Japanese companies, you know, and again, nothing against Japanese companies, it's just, you know, when it would be like me trying to translate something into French. I just don't know the culture very well, and I would have to spend such tremendous amounts of time to do so. It's much more likely that you put that in the hands of a French person.
Yeah, and probably the easiest way to do this would be, you know, not make the show, then get it translated. You know, it's like, if they did this, they'd have to be smart about this and say, okay, we have the script, this is going to be made, so why not just send this script off? And while it's being we can already have the sub ready and waiting as soon as we're done.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's the thing. You know, there would have to be translators still. Honestly, it would be moving in the direction it already is, where translation is basically an independent function, and you ship it off to somebody who sits in their, you know, in their office at home and does the translations and then ships it back to you. You know, whereas it used to be you had sort of your in-house translators like Crispin Freeman, who adapted. But that's how you do things, and I think it would turn into that very distributed sort of way of doing things. From what I understand, that's basically how they're doing Unicorn, where they get the scripts while they're still in production, so they can do all the translation and the dubbing and so forth, obviously over here. And yes, you need that kind of tighter integration for the shows. And the other thing too is that I mean, the problem is not just America versus Japan. It's Spain and France and Germany and the Spanish-speaking world, and it's much bigger than that too. And I think with English you have the advantage of at least catching sort of the global language, if you will. But then folks are going to say, well, wait, you're releasing for English. Why isn't there Spanish sub?
Yeah, that's the other problem as well.
Yeah.
But it's like the best. I think that would be sort of easy to counter-argue in the fact that English is one of the most popular languages on the planet. Most of our viewers are English-speaking countries. So the logical explanation for a test drive would be we will eventually do Spanish, French, blah, 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 if it does well. And they can always just, I mean, this is me talking as if I'm an asshole businessman, but, the way I would do it is just say, well, we're just not getting enough money to do Spanish and French, which, frankly, they never will.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Unless anime becomes, frankly, like a PS3. Everyone has one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I mean, actually, thinking about it, Italian they might. Because there's a very wide, anime fandom in Italy.
Yeah, definitely.
French, it's more manga. France, it's more manga. The Spanish world's interesting. I mean, I've run across a lot of manga translations in Spanish. So
definitely, yeah. I've seen
that might work.
It's like I see it, and I'm like, why is there so many? I know anime is popular. Frankly, I only know that Shin-chan is so phenomenally popular that all children is in Spain. But I don't know. I've never. I've been to Spain a lot, and I have never, ever seen a manga on sale.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Frankly, I've never seen a comic shop in Spain. It's like, not even in those big markets when you put up your own stalls. And I've seen some surprising stuff, stalls dedicated to the Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not like these markets aren't going for, it's like, they're just doing clothes and purses and hairstyles. No, they're going for freaking everything.
Yeah.
They're just not doing comics or manga.
Yeah.
So that's why I always find it weird when I see a Spanish translation.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently it's a big thing. And of course, that's probably not Spain. That's, the people doing the translations are for Brazil or, whatever. It's such a huge thing. There's so many Spanish-speaking countries. But yeah, and as the chat room is pointing out, most countries teach English. So it's kind of hard to avoid it. So at least folks are going to know it. And like I say, that's just the straight thing is that we only have so much money to do this. We need to do this, and so we start with English. That just makes logical sense. We're not going to start with Russian.
And I think that's the other sort of, again, arsehole businessman speaking here, saying that, well, you have the opportunity to learn English. That's the kind of thing, isn't it? Most countries teach English. You can learn English at a young age.
Yeah.
The businessman would just kind of say, well, if you didn't take that opportunity, just sucks to be you, kind of thing.
And the chat room is absolutely right. As X is pointing out in the chat room, China is also a big aspect of this too. There is a lot of piracy in China, which I know doesn't surprise anybody. But I think that's another thing that they've got to address is that as China now adopts more international culture, and that's not quite as frowned on as it used to be. Wow, that's a market that they gotta figure out real darn quick. Because if not, then it's going to be America all over again. They're just going to all download it and watch it for free, and there's 500 million sales lost.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Is it's like if you can figure out how to make something a household name in China, you become a very rich man.
Yeah,
simple as that. It's like, and also China just makes everything for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at the back of a spoon made in China.
Yep.
It's kind of like you look at the back of anything made in China.
Yep.
Kind of thing. It's like it's a market that it's so waiting to just have a needle stuck in it and popped.
Yeah.
Actually, and broken into and getting your money's worth.
I was watching a news story on that where NHK World, where they were talking about how Japanese businessmen are now explicitly going over to China to say, hey, you guys have a lot of infrastructure. We're really, really good at making that infrastructure awesome. So they'll go over and look at water pipes and things like that and saying, okay, here you need titanium instead of steel. And for this joint you need this, and they can come in and just really improve that. And the Chinese are like, sweet, here's $1 billion. Because we kind of print our own money, and the Japanese are like, oh, we'll take that. So there's all sorts of opportunities there for things, and as China opens up, China becomes a little more democratic and a little bit more just open to other possibilities. I think this just has, and also as I think the Chinese are becoming, pardon the stereotype, a little less uptight about other countries. And you were talking about before, you want to keep your culture, and it's now more like, okay, we can watch, name your giant robot series, whatever, and that's not going to kill our culture. So hopefully that's a big thing. Like we say, this makes a lot of sense. In fact, Gundam UC, it's released. There's Chinese simplified text right on there. It makes a lot of sense. All right, I think we covered it pretty darn well. Anything else you wanted to bring up on the issue?
No, nothing specific. No.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Cool. Well, as always, thank you, Matt, for joining us for this episode of Otalku.
It's absolutely always a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to have you on here, and we will be back with more episodes, more than you may be used to. We're trying to increase our schedule here, so it should be fun. So, hope to see you all next time. Thanks for watching.